Hi friends, this is Dainty Tank. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back to Please Be Happy. It's part 24 in the series. 2, 4. Of course we're getting up there, but that's okay. You know what's also getting up there in age? Juliet. However, when you're immortal, like, what age doesn't matter. However, I can see how, from our experience last time, she has so much baggage around Wellington that she feels like she needs to retire to a place like the underworld. However, I'm sitting here like, just move somewhere new, somewhere that doesn't have the baggage and the memories of this. Go to like Korea with Miho, like totally. Just go somewhere new. Just do. Doesn't matter.
Shall we pick up where we left off?
Yeah. Yes, please. We both know why we're here. Don't even start. Oh my god, I forgot Lena. We're starting out strong. Alright, here we go. The rehearsals for the play carry on regularly over the month. We have at least one each week and sometimes more, although I don't go to every single one of them. I go to lots. Aspen and Juliet are probably more excited about it than I am, and always encourage me before I go, even though I've told them several times that I'm not really participating that much. I'm a tree. Out of the entire cast, there's definitely no one who works as hard as Lena and Cyrus do. Not only do the two have the most lines, but they have the most energy too. Considering how quiet Cyrus is, when he's not acting, watching and hearing him perform with so much emotion is like seeing a whole new person. Even though the play isn't until December, more than a month away, neither of them ever slack off. When I'm there, I sometimes help out with things like organizing the prompts and handing out refreshments. The actual performance will be on the real stage, but we still haven't been able to use one for practice yet. And for those who don't know, if you've never experienced it, New Zealand is actually down in the southern hemisphere, which means that December is their summer. Just a heads up, that's why it's bright and green and pretty, and also December. It's because it's their summer. It's the height of their summer, effectively. Sometimes I do have to perform my part. Sup, tree? E. Which mostly means standing still in my costume, but sometimes having to move around. I'm not totally sure why they don't just use fake trees, but that's okay. Although I wasn't exactly looking forward to being part of this at first, the more time I spend at rehearsals, the more fun I have. Even though I have to meet most of the cast every time, they're all pretty friendly and easy to get along with, and even I can see the improvement that happens every week. Everyone is getting better, not just Lena and Cyrus. Occasionally other people in the park will stop by to watch for a bit. They always clap or cheer when we're done, or when they leave. Overall, the place is a nice distraction from the worries of everyday life. It's nice to have one thing that I don't have to stress about. There's still a long way to go, but I know it just means we'll improve even more before the real thing. Surprising even myself, I'm looking forward to showing everyone just how hard we've been working. That's fair. That's valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not me. That's not Juliet. It's hard. It's late, and the moon is high in the sky when there's suddenly a knock on my window. I burst up from my spot on the floor where I've been dozing.
What the?
And the darkness takes a moment to discern the face behind the glass. When I do, it turns out to be the last person I'd expect.
Silver?
I was expecting it to be Silver. Pull the window open to where Silver's perched on the branch of a nearby tree.
Why not just use the door?
Come outside. I would speak with you.
I would speak with you. Ignoring my questions like always, Silver stands up. I catch the corner of her cocky smile before she leaps from the branch, plummeting towards the ground below.
Hey!
Clutching the windowsill, I jammed my head out the window, expecting to see her crumpled on the grass. Instead, I just in time to watch her nimbly land on her feet and transform before running off into the darkness behind the library. With no time to wait or even think about it, I follow after her. Of course, I take stairs and go out the front door first. I transform right away and wrap around the building, expecting to have to chase after Silver, even though she came here. Instead, she hasn't gone far at all. Just behind the edge of the yard, she stands in her human form and stares out at the city below us. Many windows are dark, but many are illuminated too. The street lights and lamps stand lit, even with no one to use them. A warm yellow glow pushes away the darkness at the edges of town. Changing forms back as well, I walk over to stand beside her. Without looking at me, Silver extends an arm in front of her, as if reaching for the city. It's her wrist, with her bracelet on it, and her bead shines in the dark like another street lamp. Unhooking my necklace, I hold it out alongside hers. The glow of my bead is almost as bright as hers. Scoffing, Silver lowers her arm, and I put my necklace back on. I wait for her to start talking instead of saying anything. Myself, I find myself doing this a lot with Aspen and Juliet as well. Although here it's different. Not only with Silver, the one who came to me, but anything I say would probably be ignored anyway. Sure enough, it wasn't long before she twirls around to point a finger in my face.
Listen up, because I'm only going to tell you this once.
That's one more time than I usually get. I just nod, signaling for her to continue.
I simply couldn't watch you continue to wallow in ignorance. Whereas your magic causes those you encounter to forget about you, mine assists me in a different way. It tells me the truth of things, of people, human and fabled alike. To my eyes, their emotions are as colors. Fear, like everything else, has its own glow. I've seen the betrayal of their hearts is twofold. They reveal unseen feelings that they try to mask with words.
I didn't mean to click. Ugh, and I can't go back. No! Okay.
And the hearts of men are fickle besides. I've seen boredom turn to cruelty, fear become hatred. This is what I see, and you do not. The truth that lies behind all promises and pretenses. Today's friends are tomorrow's bitter foes. You should know all this. I know what it's like to be one of us. I know what you've lived through. And yet, even now...
She cuts herself off and scoffs. Or maybe it's her choking something back.
What color is mine right now?
To give her an out, I ask a question instead. Her eyes narrow, but with concentration, not irritation. As I stand there, I match her gaze. This is the first time we've really spoken normally, instead of her trying to pick a fight or hide from me. She's the first to look away and speaking to the ground.
The color of young spring.
Oh.
It's difficult to read the aura of our kind, requiring my concentration and focus. Even then, it's but a pale glow. With humans and most others, they cannot hide their light from me if they wanted to.
Like why you don't forget about me, right? Even though everyone else does.
She nods. I want to know what the color means to her. I also want to know why she's choosing to tell me all this after dodging everything else I've ever asked her. I'm sure she wouldn't tell me if I tried. But there's something else that I do have to ask because I'm pretty sure I already know the answer.
Have you ever told anyone else?
Staring at the ground, it takes a long time before Silver shakes her head.
Not so.
I don't think Silver's quite as old as I am, but she's still spent decades on her own, if not longer, just like me. And all that time, any chances I might have had to do something different or change something, just let pass me by. I never had any idea what I might be missing. Beside me, Silver adjusts her mask and shifts her weight to her good leg. She's about to transform and probably run away. She had to have some reason for bringing me out here, right? Was she hoping that I'd be the one to extend a hand? I think she'd be going along with Aspen and Juliet when she had some time to warm up to them. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be having this conversation with her right now. Before she can change, I suddenly reach over and put my hand on Silver's shoulder. She stiffens and goes tense under my fingers, pulling away inconceivably fast. Facing me from a few meters away. I don't need to be able to read her auras to detect the anger emanating from her.
I'm sorry.
Damn it, that was dumb, even for me. I held up my hands, trying to show I wouldn't do it again.
I just...
Just what? Wanting to help her? Saying that would definitely make her hate me. Instead, I clamp my jaw shut before I can make things worse. For a moment, her face softens and she looks torn. She dispels that by shaking her head.
We're even now.
Oh, okay. Within seconds, she's a fox, and then she's part of the night, vanished into darkness. Okay, so she had, like, she'd been spinning on this for months at this point, right? This time I don't even think about chasing her. Would have gotten upset, too, if one of my friends had done that to me early on, too. But I don't think she'll hold it against me. At least, not any more than the rest of my existence. After all, I realized way too late, her coming here is the first place she was... coming here in the first place was already her reaching out. And if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that you can't rush these things.
I'm sorry. I hope I'll see you again soon.
Don't yell, but don't whisper either. Pretty sure that she's still close enough to be able to hear me. I've done about as much as I can. The rest is up to her. My eyes start to glaze over as I flip to a new check-in sheet marking off the last few books in this small pile of returns. Work isn't as busier than usual, but I'm finding it hard to stay focused. Tucked in the corner nearby are the books and worksheets I've used to learn how to read and write. I've gone through almost all of them by now, practicing each letter hundreds of times. Even reading, which used to seem so mysterious and difficult, has gotten easier. It's not as fast as Aspen or Juliet, of course, but at least I'm not limited to the kids section of the library anymore. I think back to the first time coming here, when I scoped the place out before trying to steal Cosette's painting. Oh, you did. It was a dumb idea either way, but could have never guessed how that one bad decision would affect the rest of my life. It was here in the library that I told Aspen and Juliet that I wanted to learn how to be a person. At the time, it seemed almost as impossible as learning to read. A lot of impossible things have happened to me in this place. Now, what's hard to imagine is not having this library. What it would be like to walk out the doors for a final time and never go back. Seems as unbelievable as all the other changes that have occurred in my life. That's why I can't stop thinking about it. I know it could happen. Looking back at the papers in front of me, I glance through the list of names written there. Some are new and some others I recognize. Some people have been coming here longer than I have, while others have just visited for the first time. I wonder if I know them better than Juliet does. Library door opens and I see a familiar face.
Hey, Aspen.
Aspen waves as she approaches the desk.
Hello, hello.
Hi. She isn't here for breakfast, so this is the first time I've seen her today. In fact, I was going to have to call her soon, just to check in.
You're not working today?
No. In fact, I even asked to have my hours cut back a bit. I need all the writing time I can get.
Oh? Oh? Why? Tell me more. Tell me more, tell me more. Did you get very far?
Are you still trying to find a publisher?
Unfortunately,
Aw.
it's not all bad though. I haven't gotten any outright acceptances yet, but I've had some interests at least.
Yay.
One editor gave me suggestions for how I could make my manuscript stand out more, so I've been furiously making revisions.
Good.
I finally told my boss that I'd have to decline running the new store. I simply don't have the time for it right now.
Good.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm glad your writing's going okay, though.
Me too. Regina was also understanding. Disappointed, but understanding. I actually came up here to do some writing since it's been a while. I take it Juliet's gone to bed already?
Yeah. After breakfast, like usual.
Tell her I said hello later, please. How are things going for the two of you?
Do you have some of that writing time you could spare for Miho?
What do you mean?
I mean, you've been dating for a few weeks now, right? How's that going?
Oh, it's good. I think.
She raises her eyebrows, rightly so.
You think?
Well...
Aspen still doesn't know about Juliet potentially leaving, or how that's been on both our minds, and I promised Juliet I wouldn't tell her about it either. Seeing me struggle for how to answer, Aspen's face softens a bit.
Would you like to talk about it?
Yes.
Not that I'm much of a help when it comes to this kind of thing, but if you have to think about it for so long, then clearly something is amiss.
I thought you were gonna be busy writing.
I'm not so busy that I can't listen to a friend's troubles, but you don't have to tell me about it if you don't want to.
No. It would be kinda nice to talk about it, I guess. Although, there's some stuff I can't tell you.
That's fine. I understand. Would you like to go back to the dining room for a bit more privacy?
That sounds good.
Aw. Leaving the library papers on the desk, two of us go back and sit down at the table.
So, what's eating at you?
Well, you see, dating vampire mommy, she's amazing, she's wonderful, she's got a lot of baggage, and she asked me to kind of travel to the underworld with her so she could die, but that's kind of sucky, so kind of want her to instead live with me elsewhere, like where she won't die and we have more of eternity together, kind of that, and like really kind of also would like her to like initiate some like physicality kind of in the relationship, maybe get past kissing, that'd be cool.
I don't know where to start.
More specifically, it's hard to say without breaking my promise, but also it's more than just the uncertainty that's been bugging me.
Let me try then. Do you like dating Juliet?
Yeah.
That one's easy, at least.
Good. And I hope you don't mind me asking, do you think she likes dating you?
I'm pretty sure she does. She says so, at least. We hug and kiss each other a lot, and spend time together when we can.
What do the two of you do together?
We go on walks sometimes. I even got her to hang out with me as a bat for a while, too.
That sounds nice. What else?
We still have breakfast pretty much every day, and sometimes I sit with her while she works, and I read a book or something.
That's good too. Although you already did those before you started dating, right?
Yeah, that stuff hasn't changed too much.
Is there anything else you'd like to do together? Do you ever go on any actual dates? To the movies, or out to dinner, or anything like that?
Nah, we stay at home most of the time.
Aspen pushes her glasses up with one finger, wrinkling her nose like she's studying something.
I think I'm beginning to see the problem.
You are?
I mean, I'm hardly an expert when it comes to matters of the heart. I've just read a lot of books about it.
I've just read the books.
But it sounds pretty clear that you're wanting something more out of this relationship, right?
Something more? Like what?
I don't know. That's up to you. Affection, attention, reassurance, whatever. But if you have to think about if things are going well, or if Juliet feels the same way as you, then that sounds like something's missing.
Something in Aspen's words does ring true. I really do like what I have with Juliet, but sometimes it feels like we're just friends.
I guess you might be right. I don't really know what's normal, though. Or what I should expect. I don't think she does either.
I'm not sure there is such a thing as normal.
Oh no, there's not a normal. It's next to normal, which is a good play, but also a lot of emotions. Be safe.
I just think that whatever you have should make you feel more confident and satisfied, not less. That's simply common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
No, yeah, definitely.
Have you expressed any of this to her?
Fucking communicate. Thank you, Aspen.
Nah. There's a lot of other stuff on her mind. Besides, like you said, I don't even really know what else it is that I want.
I think you do, even if you aren't aware of it.
Huh?
I mean, listen to yourself. You want to feel more secure in your relationship, right? That's a perfectly normal thing to want, too. I'm sure she does have a lot in her mind. She's Juliet. But I should think that her girlfriend's well-being would be near the top of her priority list.
Yup.
Dating someone is supposed to be about give and take. Even I know that much.
What do you think I should do then?
Fucking communicate.
Everything you're saying makes sense, but...
No buts. I just think you should talk to her. Whatever secrets you two have going on in the background, I'm sure they don't change the simple facts.
That you're dating, you love each other, and that takes priority.
And the fact is that if things are going to work out for the two of you, then she's going to have to put in effort as well.
Yup.
I'm sure she couldn't disagree with that.
I guess you have a point.
Although I don't want to admit it, what Aspen's saying feels right. Bringing all this up with Juliet sounds difficult, especially when I'm trying to make her not want to go. I worry that if I tell her everything I'm thinking, it might just make her decide to leave. I can't deny the one way or another. Something has to change.
Of course I do. Even if it's just that talking things out makes things better. If they don't get better, then that's a resolution unto itself.
Yeah, that's very true. Talk, and if it doesn't get better after talking a lot, then it's not gonna get better. You gotta just have either a different solution or realize that it might not be something worth it, which is hard. I understand. I think there's a lot worth it here. And they need to fucking communicate. I'm proud of Aspen for all of her advice here.
You both have to want what's best for yourselves and for each other. Hopefully those will line up, but if not, then you're just going to keep feeling this way. I'm not exactly sure how you feel, beyond confused, but I can hardly imagine it's pleasant.
It's not all bad. I really do like the time that I spend with her. I like that we can just be together without saying or doing much. I just wish that wasn't all we did.
Tell her that. If there's one thing I know for sure about Juliet, it's that she's good at listening. It's up to her to learn how to respond.
Yeah, you're right. It feels kind of scary, but it shouldn't, right?
I think it's normal. After all, you've only been together a short time. But if you're in love, if it's meant to be, then you shouldn't be afraid to be open with her about your feelings. That's the only way either of you can grow.
That makes sense. You sure do have a lot of good advice for someone who's not an expert.
I don't really need to be in this case. Besides, I know the two of you well enough to get how things turned out this way. That's why I think it will be all right in the end, too.
Aww.
I hope you're right.
Such a good friend.
Thanks for talking with me. And for everything you said, too.
Of course. I'm glad I could help. I want things to work out for the both of you.
With our conversation finished, Aspen sets up her writing stuff in a kitchen, since the main room is too crowded, and brews herself a pot of coffee. I go back to my seat in the front to think about what she said. The one thing Aspen is definitely right about is the notion of leaving doesn't change our other problems. Honestly, it's a relief to hear her think of them as problems too. I've been afraid of doing the wrong thing so much that it's kept me from trying to do the right thing. Juliet and I will talk about heavy stuff and then split up to think about it on our own. Then, when we do spend time together again, neither of us bring it up. I've been that way because I don't want to bring the mood down or spoil what could be good times, but it's not like it's kept us from feeling bad. Maybe it would be better to just get it over with, painful or not. Maybe it would help us both make up our own minds too. Even if the consequences we come to are the ones I'm afraid of, it's not like delaying them will make them any less real. Hiding from the truth doesn't make it untrue. Taking a deep breath, I still myself with the conversation I know I'll have to have later and start thinking about what it is I want to say. Oh, okay. And then suddenly we have a library. I come to see Tommy and his family fairly regularly. Of course, I hear from the three of them every day, just to maintain their memories. It makes my daily check-ins take a little while, but that's okay. Gwen also comes to the library to study several times a week, sometimes by herself and sometimes with Tommy. When Elijah drops by to return the books he borrowed, he mentions that he wasn't able to learn much about Gerby like he hoped, but he thinks Gerby comes from somewhere other than the underworld like I do. That would explain why it's harder to find information about him. It reminds me a bit of Aspen and Juliet trying to find out more about my bead and magic. At least in that case, there's Silver to help explain some things, at least begrudgingly. As for Tommy, it seems like he's doing well. I don't hear anything else about him getting into fights, for one thing. When he's at the library, he either looks for bugs or just reads a book at the table with his mom. Slowly but surely, the three of them, four if you count Gerby, and you should, have slipped into their own routine. I hope Elijah was right about when he said that things between them will just have to get better with time. Aww. Oh, I just realized that, I guess I never maintained a relationship with that random dude I met one day on, Mount Victoria. I wonder if you just, choose not to spend time with him. Maybe he goes away. After spending some time outside, I get back to the library in the early evening and start closing up for the night. Last few patrons around say goodbye as they trickle past me out the door. I give absent-minded responses as they go. Aspen must have left some time while I was out. Stacking and shelving books gives me something to occupy my hands, but my thoughts are running wild. I keep an ear open for the sounds of Juliet waking up. Running water, shutting doors, or even her voice coming in the hallway. I spent all day thinking about Aspen's words and what I want to say to Juliet, but my feelings are still a mess. Regardless, I plan to talk to her tonight. Every other day that I put this off is just another day that I'll feel like this. Aspen said I shouldn't be afraid of talking to Juliet, but in this case, it's hard not to be nervous. After all, this conversation could change our entire relationship, for better or for worse. That means my entire life could change too. I should be used to potentially life-changing moments by now, but my heart is still racing. All I can do is trust myself and then Juliet. Doing these two things have gotten me this far. I just have to speak from the heart and hope that she understands. I hope so. I think she will. In a weird way, I'm kind of glad that it feels like there's so much on the line here. No matter what happens, I hope I can have some closure soon. The last library guest eventually leaves and I finish everything that needs doing. After pointlessly adjusting the chairs and straightening out some papers for the 100th time, I go to the kitchen and make myself a cup of tea. I found myself drinking more tea over the past few weeks. I still don't like the taste on its own, but with enough sugar I can tolerate it. Making tea is kind of soothing too. Heating the water, scooping the leaves, watching it steep. I imagine that's why Juliet drinks it, even as a vampire. I sit at the table and sip my drink, unable to do much besides that. I consider watching TV, but I know I wouldn't be able to pay attention, so instead I sit and wait. After what feels like forever, I finally hear sounds from upstairs. I force myself to wait a little bit longer, give Juliet some time to properly wake up. Wiping my palms on my legs, I count the seconds away. When it feels like it's been long enough, I stand up. Before I go upstairs, I refill my mug and prepare a cup of tea for Juliet as well. Again, a simple process helps me focus on something else for a moment to clear my mind. Once both cups are ready, I take them and go upstairs. I pause outside Juliet's study, listening for a second to make sure I'm not interrupting anything. I don't hear anyone else with her, so I knock.
Come in.
I'm sure it's a knock. I step inside.
Good evening, Miho. I was just about to come down and see you.
Hey, I made you some tea.
I pass her one of the mugs, which she accepts with a smile.
Thank you. That's very thoughtful.
I just nod, taking a seat without being offered.
Can we talk?
Oh, that's a face. Juliet stiffens, probably at the words as well as my actions. This is the only way I can do it, though. It's this or freak out.
Of course.
There's a little shake in her voice, too. This makes me feel a bit better somehow. She doesn't say anything else. It's okay to communicate. It's okay to be nervous about communicating. It's okay to also tell the other person that you're nervous about communicating. All of those are valid. Your feelings are valid. Juliet pulls her chair out from behind the desk and sits down close to me, but not touching me. It's not too different from a couple weeks ago when we sat here and she told me about the underworld and asked me to go with her. I wonder if she has an idea of what it is I want to talk about. I would be surprised if not. Then I give myself 1 second of preparation and take a long drink of tea, centering myself around the warmth and aroma. Then I set the mug down on the desk. I force myself to make eye contact with her, even as my mind wants to look away.
Aspen came by the library this morning to do some writing. She said she decided not to take that job at the New Bell House. We talked for a while, and she asked some questions about us. About you and me, I mean. She asked how things were going between us, and I told her I don't really know, basically.
Juliet's eyes widen, and I see her swallow, but she doesn't say anything. She just waits for me to continue.
She could tell that something was bothering me. I didn't tell her you might be leaving, just to get that out of the way. I kept my promise about that. She asked me some other questions, though, and helped me realize some stuff.
No.
Some stuff that I've been feeling for a while, but didn't tell you.
Yep.
Because I didn't want to bother you when you already have so much on your mind. And I was afraid that if I did, it might be another reason to make you want to leave. But talking with Aspen made me realize that if I don't tell you, then it's just going to make things worse. So I spent all day trying to think about how to say it, but still couldn't figure it out. Obviously.
Still silent, Juliet is so motionless as she listens that she could almost pass for a doll. I take a deep breath, looking away from her face.
Do you love me?
My throat constricts as I ask, barely able to whisper. I take a sip of tea, steadying myself.
Oh, Miho. Of course I do. I do love you. I hadn't meant to make you question that.
Juliet whispers too, also sounding strained. Her voice twitches like she's trying to reach for me, but stops herself. Though her hand twitches, I got it.
I love you too.
This time my words sound more like a gasp. I can feel the imminent pressure of tears, and it's all I can do to keep myself from crying.
I really do. You helped teach me what love even is. And that I could be in love. So that's why. That's why.
2 tears roll down my cheeks as I look into her eyes again, seeing them sparkle as well.
That's That's why I don't want to have to ask. I just want to know. We say it to each other, and we hug and we kiss, but it feels like that's it. I know we said we didn't need to use certain words or do certain things, and that's true, but sometimes it feels like we're still just friends, like nothing's changed. I like being with you and just doing nothing, but I don't want to always do nothing, and to do things you want to do too. I want to have fun with you, not just make you less sad. Sometimes I don't even know if I do that. It's not just that you want to leave. I get why you do. But even if I go with you, would things be any different? Or would we still be like this?
That's a great question.
Because I don't want to keep wondering. I know we haven't been together for very long, but I don't want to keep feeling like you're only with me because I asked, or for my sake. You're always doing things for other people. I love that about you. But I couldn't take it if this was one of those things. Right now, that's how it seems sometimes.
Oh, that's a lot of feeling. Oh my god. Somehow I managed to stifle my tears and keep from breaking down entirely. I breathe out deeply, letting my words linger in the air between us. I feel strangely serene, the tempest of anxiety that buffeted me all day getting calmer. I said what was on my mind, and so now there's no taking it back. No matter what happens now, no matter what Juliet says, at least I was honest. Next to me, Juliet buries her face in her hands. Her shoulders shake. And I can hear her trying to keep herself under control. It feels weird for us to be in these positions. Usually it's the other way around. I slide to the floor and scoot closer, wrapping my arms around her and putting my head against Juliet's side. It's an awkward position and not very comfortable, but it's all I can manage right now. Even while she continues to cry, I feel her place one hand on top of my head, stroking my hair gently as she vents her feelings. I focus on the sensation and the rise and fall of her chest with every breath, while I wait for her to be able to respond. She let me say my piece uninterrupted, and I want to do the same for her. Slowly, Julia regains her composure and finally wipes her face with one sleeve. I lean back and sit up, though I stay on the floor, close to her. It's not the first time I've seen Juliet cry, but I've never seen her look like this before. Now she's a mess.
Miho,
I reach up and take one of her hands, wet with tears.
I don't even know where to begin. I suppose I should start with what's most important.
Yeah. Juliet stands, and I stand with her, like when we danced, and several other times after that. We face each other just a few inches apart.
I love you, Miho. I truly do. So much that it scares me. And I've let that fear hurt you.
Yeah. I was wondering about that. If you're scared to get close, because all you've felt is loss.
I'm not young anymore. From the outside, I've seen so many relationships begin and end. I've had dalliances of my own. I know the volatility of the heart.
Dalliances? What the fuck is dalliances?
So, to find myself falling for you so quickly and so deeply.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I fell for the dating wave so hard, so quick. Oh my god. It happens.
I didn't know how to respond to my own feelings with anything other than doubt.
Aw.
We spoke of this before, with Aspen in the gardens that night. I thought that I could be the kind of friend I said I would. Closer and more vulnerable. I did mean those words. believing that that kind of friendship was enough. Yet even as I promised to be more open, I was already setting new boundaries in my heart. I knew of Aspen's feelings for you at the time, even as I was aware of my own beginning to blossom. When you came to me and asked about love, I expected and even wanted you to accept Aspen's confession. And while I would never, ever have wished for her to forget you like she did, the pathetic relief I felt when you told me you had decided not to return her feelings was indescribable. Over the coming days, as I began to suspect that you might feel the same way about me as I did about you, I found myself of two minds, hoping I was right and hoping I was wrong. Even as I told you that pain and heartbreak were unavoidable parts of connection and relationships, I could feel the sharp sting of hypocrisy in my throat. The words I spoke were true, and yet I had sworn myself away from those things.
Yeah, you closed yourself up good.
The thought of being with you was euphoric, and the thought of someday losing you was crushing.
Yes.
Those are both still true as well. That night by the sea, when you said that you loved me, I was so happy and so afraid. By remaining somewhere in the middle, I thought that I was protecting you as well as myself. What a fool I was. All I've done is hurt both of us more.
Aww. I couldn't wait any longer. I pulled Juliet toward me, taking her by surprise. She stumbles, but I catch her, wrapping my arms around her again. I hold her tightly as I can, like I'll never let her go.
I'm sorry, Miho. I am so sorry for making you feel this way for so long.
It's okay. Really.
I'm glad you talked about it. Just fucking communicate.
I wouldn't have said all this if I didn't want to make things work.
Thank you. I'll do better from now on. I promise. I really promise this time.
Aww. Juliet's lips find mine and we kiss like it's the first time. In a way, maybe it is. I know things can't be fixed with just one conversation. It's a start, not the end. But it's a start of something exciting. Just like when we first shared our feelings with each other. Whatever awaits us in the future, whether it's good or bad or somewhere in between, I'm looking forward to facing it. As long as it's with Juliet. Juliet eventually ends our kiss, but only moves far enough away to look down at me lovingly. Her face is still streaked with tears, and her hair is a disheveled mess. But somehow, I don't think she's ever looked more beautiful to me.
I love you, Miho.
Aww. I couldn't help but smile in response.
I love you too.
I don't doubt her words at all. Aww. When Juliet and I finally said our goodbyes for the night, I went to sleep. It was a much lighter heart than the past few days. Before we split up, I asked her to show me how to get the nature preserve where her friend took the bird and how to get there, and she walked me through how to reach the shuttle. Take me there. Okay. Need something to pass my time before she wakes up, and I want to see the bird is doing, so it seemed like a perfect time to visit. In the morning, after I got up and out of bed, have a quick breakfast of my own, since I slept in. I think that's a good place to stop. Good change. So that was adorable and also catastrophic all at once. Aspen did such a good job. Like, this is a real freaking relationship. I love it. I love it so well. It's so much. It does so well. I love it so much. It does so well. I love it so well. But with that, I'm gonna leave this here. I love you all. And I'll see you next time. Bye.